On the night of September 9th, 1987, a well-known taxi driver in Bundaberg answered a routine call from a passenger. The name given was simple: Sykes. The ride should have taken minutes. But by morning, the cab was found abandoned, soaked in blood, its driver nowhere in sight. Hours later, his body was discovered in a gravel pit, beaten, stabbed, and discarded miles from town. What followed was not just an unsolved murder. It was a haunting silence that stretched across decades. Suspects were named. Inquests were held. But no charges ever stuck. The killer vanished. The case went cold. Now, 38 years later, in a stunning breakthrough, DNA has reopened the investigation. And for the first time in decades, police believe they're closer than ever to exposing the truth. Before we take you into this chilling timeline, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment below with your thoughts. Do you believe justice can still be served after all this time? Or has the killer already gotten away with murder? Stay with us, because this story is far from over. The night was quiet, still. In a city already asleep, 48-year-old Bryan Hodgkinson took what should have been just another fare. A man radioed in, calling himself Sykes. Just a name. No address. No alarm bells. Bryan had done this 100 times before. He was a trusted taxi driver, a devoted husband to Elaine, and a proud father of 3. This was his shift, his route, his town. At 12:31 a.m., he accepted the job. That was the last time anyone heard from him. By morning, his cab was found abandoned on Beatrice Street. The doors were shut, the engine cold. But inside, blood. A lot of it. No sign of Bryan. No money. No coin box. No keys. No Sykes. Then, a second horror. Bryan's body was found dumped in a gravel pit miles away. Beaten. Stabbed, left like garbage in the dust. Whoever did this hadn't just robbed him, they destroyed a family. His wife Elaine collapsed. His children were left with questions far too cruel for their age. Bundaberg wasn't just mourning, it was afraid. Who was Sykes? And why was Bryan, the kindest man behind a wheel, so violently silenced? This wasn't a robbery gone wrong. This was personal, brutal, intentional. Weeks turned into months, months into years, and every lead the police followed crumbled into dust. There were whispers. One man claimed he saw 2 people in Bryan's cab that night. An inquest named 2 suspects, Gary Rasmussen and Paul Sutherland, both known to police, both capable of violence, but both uncharged. Why? Because in the shadows of this case was something more sinister: silence. Gary Rasmussen died in 1993, taking any secrets he had to the grave. Paul Sutherland denied everything. And the one man arrested years later, Anthony Bruce Beer, had his charges dropped. Lack of evidence. Lack of closure. A second inquest in 2018 confirmed what the family feared. No one could be held responsible. Not legally. Not yet. But in the Hodgkinson home, justice wasn't just a word. It was a wound. Elaine waited for answers until her last breath in 2024. She died never knowing who murdered her husband. And Stephen, Bryan's son, was left alone, holding the weight of a crime that scarred his childhood and stolen his peace. Nearly 4 decades. No arrests. No justice. But some stories refuse to stay buried. Forensic science had caught up to the silence. With new technology and refined DNA testing, investigators discovered genetic material on Bryan's abandoned taxi and near the isolated gravel pit, where his body had been discarded. Real traceable evidence that hadn't existed in 1987. For the first time in nearly 4 decades, police believed they had a tangible path forward. The Queensland government issued a $500,000 reward for any information leading to conviction, one of the largest ever in the state's history. Authorities even offered potential immunity to anyone who had been involved if they came forward now and helped close the case. But
It's never too late to come forward. Relationships and loyalties change. People who were once scared may no longer be, and we'd encourage those people to come forward.
It wasn't just investigators speaking out. Stephen Hodgkinson, Bryan's son, now a grown man with children of his own, stood before reporters this month, holding a photo of the father he lost at just 9 years old. His voice trembled, but his message was clear.
Mum also passed away just prior to Christmas last year, and she was never able to see the closure on the events of Dad's death. I'm not sure now what justice looks like after such a long period of time, that some form of closure or even more details of the events of September 1987 would be appreciated.
The room fell quiet. Cameras kept rolling. But in that moment, it wasn't about press. It wasn't about police. It was about a son standing where his father never got the chance to. It was about a family still bleeding from a wound nearly 4 decades old, one that time never healed, only deepened. Now, as detectives sift through newly reactivated DNA evidence and retrace a path once thought too cold to follow, new questions have surfaced, the kind that whisper louder than screams. What else did the killer leave behind that night? Who helped cover up the crime? And why, after all these years, does no one speak the name Sykes out loud? Was it fear? Was it loyalty? Or was it because he never existed at all? Police believe the truth is within reach. One test, one name, one conversation. That's all it might take. But every day that passes without an arrest is another day a killer might be watching, still free, still silent. And yet, what if they already know who did it? What if justice has just been waiting for the right piece to fall into place? Because if that DNA match is found, if the man who called himself Sykes is still alive, if one person breaks their silence, just one, then Bryan Hodgkinson, the man taken on a quiet September night in 1987, may finally return, not in flesh but in truth, not in pain but in purpose, and this time not as a victim, but as the reason justice refuses to stay cold. But until that moment comes, we wait, and so does he.